Hi, I'm Mrs.D Math. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to go over how to divide decimals in 7th grade math. This is not only going to review dividing decimals, but we're also going to include our integer rules, which we learned in 6th grade math. So we're going to put those together in this video with dividing decimals in 7th grade math. Let's get started. So when we're dividing positive and negative decimals, we need to remember to follow the same rules as dividing integers. So let's go ahead and review those rules really quickly. And these are going to be the same rules as when we multiplied integers. So if you remember, when we have the same sign, so if they're both positive or they're both negative, we're going to end up with a positive answer. And then same thing for different signs. If we have one that's positive and one that's negative, when we divide those, we're going to end up with a negative answer. Again, it doesn't matter which one's positive and which one's negative. As far as the larger number or the smaller number, it's going to be a negative answer if one's positive and one's negative. So let's go ahead and try a practice problem. Now, we do need to review the parts here. And so we do have a divisor and a dividend. And in this case, it's written with the division symbol and not with the division bar. So if I'm going to change it to incorporate the division bar, I'm going to write the first number inside. This is going to be my dividend, and then I'm going to divide by the divisor, which is the number outside. So once I've written this in the form of long division, you can see I went ahead and included my signs. They aren't necessary when you are writing it out as long division, but I don't want to forget those, so I am going to go ahead and incorporate those. So the first thing I have to do is turn my divisor, the number outside, into a whole number. So in order to do that, my decimal has to move all the way to the right. In this case, I moved it twice. Whatever I do to the outside, I also have to do to my dividend. So I'm going to move this decimal twice. In the space that I have there, I'm going to add a 0. And then I'm going to bring my decimal straight up from its new position. Now my decimal's in place. All I have to do is divide the actual numbers. I know that 175 goes into 352 times. 2 times 5 is 10. I'm going to go ahead and check this work. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. And 2 plus 1 is 3. And so I know 350 minus 350 is 0. So I have a 0 remainder. Now I'm going to go back to my sign rules. And so I know my answer is 2. And a negative divided by a positive is a negative answer. So it would end up being a negative 2. So let's go ahead and try another problem. And in this problem, we have two negatives. So a negative divided by a negative, which is going to end up being a positive answer. So I don't need to worry about my sign, because if my answer doesn't have a negative sign, it's understood to be positive. But we do need to go ahead and write this as long division. So I'm going to write the first number as the dividend underneath the divide bar. And then my second number is going to be the divisor. So now that I have my numbers in place, I can go ahead and make the outside number, my divisor, needs to be a whole number. So I'm going to move my decimal all the way to the right. In this case, I moved it one place. So we're going to move the decimal in the dividend one place to the right. And then I'm going to bring my decimal straight up. I'm going to go ahead and add a 0 after the decimal, just in case I have to keep going. So now I have 32 into 124. I know that 32 goes into 124 3 times, and 3 times 32 is 96. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that. 124 minus 96 is 28, and I do end up needing to bring that 0 down. So 32 goes into 280 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So I can go ahead and subtract here. And 280 minus 256 is 24, which means I'm going to need to bring down another 0. Now, if it doesn't tell you how far to go, I normally would go to the third decimal place. If it ends before that, then you're fine. Otherwise, it's just a good stopping point. So here we know that 32 goes into 240 7 times, which is 224, and I end up with 116 as my remainder. I'm going to go ahead and bring down one more 0, and 32 goes into 160 5 times, and that goes in evenly. So I do end up with no remainder here. So my final answer ends up being 3 and 875 thousandths, which is a positive answer because we had a negative divided by a negative. I hope this video helps you to review how to divide decimals, and then we also incorporated dividing decimals with our integer rules. I'm Mrs. D Math. This has been Divide Decimals in 7th grade math. Have a great day. Bye.